welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Here, by the way, is all you need to know. We'll go to the phone calls, 888-589-8840. But here's all you need to know about the economy under Barack Obama. The last month, July is the last month we have a record of what's going on with food stamps. August is the last month that we have record of what's going on with jobs. So understand that. But these are the latest months for which we have government statistics. In July, 173,000 new food stamp recipients were added to government rolls. The last month for which figures were available, 96,000 people got new jobs. So almost twice as many people went on food stamps as got jobs under Barack Obama in the last month. And that's really about all you need to know. 173,000 new food stamp recipients compared to 96,000 new jobs. And as you are aware, even that new jobs figure is bogus because 380,000 people completely dropped out of the workforce altogether. They got so discouraged they gave up and they quit. So 96,000 new jobs, but there were 119,000 fewer people that are working. 119,000 fewer people working than a month ago, even though 96,000 people found new jobs because so many other people quit or got laid off or stopped looking for work. And the true unemployment figure, if the labor force participation rate was the same as when Barack Obama took office, the unemployment figure would be at 11.2%, not 8.3%. Well, let's go to the phone, see what some of you think about this. Talking about Governor Romney kind of sliding into Obamacare. What do you think about all of that? What do you think about Rand Paul suggesting that the GOP needs to go libertarian to get votes on the coast? Let's go to Shannon in Exeter, Missouri. Shannon, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What do you think about what Governor Romney had to say?
Well, man, I tell you, it's kind of discouraging for me personally. You know, you talked about, you know, you wanted to hear from independents, and that's exactly what I am. And you know why? The reason why I'm an independent is because we got people like, you know, John McCain running. We got people like Mitt Romney running. They're people that just are not something that we can believe in. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have their good points, but, you know, I'm a simple country boy. I got 5 kids, and me and my wife are expecting now. You know, we got a baby coming in February the 2nd. And I tell you what, I've raised kids. And let me tell you something. When they do something wrong and they're little and they're young and you're trying to keep them safe, when they go off, you know, off and just do something, you know, kind of out in the wild blue yonder, and you take them and you say, don't do that. Well, if they go do it again, you pick them up and you swat their hind end a couple times. And I'm telling you, the simple fact of the matter is Mitt Romney, he needs to be a man of his word. He needs to quit waffling around. We just need to take this guy to the woodshed and say, listen, get your head out of your hind end and focus on what you said you're going to do. And if that's what you said you're going to do, get up there and do it.
So you're in favor, Shannon. You're exactly the kind of independent I was talking about at the beginning of the program. Somebody that is independent because the Republican Party isn't providing the kind of leadership that you want to see. You're more conservative than what you're getting out of the Republican Party, and you think that conservatives need to Mitt Romney needs to hear from conservatives at this point, not have us hold our fire.
Well, the truth of the matter is, Brian, okay, this guy's got some good points to him, and I'm not denying that. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of the coin, he doesn't just, light a spark. You know, when I was listening to Sarah Palin, you know, several years back, I was like, man, you know, when I was listening, you know, to Rick Santorum, I was like, yeah, you know, because these guys were just like totally just, you know, blowing it away. And I'm like, man, that's who we need for president. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
You know?
That was kind of interesting because I think a lot of people, I think Shannon, and I appreciate the call, Shannon, thank you for that. I think a lot of people had exactly the same reaction. You know, some of that with Paul Ryan, but not as enthusiastic as it was with Sarah Palin. I think the reason that Sarah Palin generated so much excitement is social conservatives said, finally, somebody that wears the Republican label proudly is also proud of the values that I stand for. And that's what gave John McCain the only chance really he had to win that election. Well, let's go to Frank in Meadow Lake, New Mexico. Frank, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Well, good afternoon, Brian. I was listening to the interview with Romney
Yes.
The other day, and I understood a little bit different because, we've been talking about health care reform in a generic sense for years, and I thought that was the way in which he was speaking of it, not Obamacare so much, but as health care reform in general. That's the way I understood it anyhow.
Mm-hmm. So how did you react? So I'm not sure what the bottom line is for you in terms of how you reacted to what you heard Governor Romney say about pre-existing conditions, letting kids stay in their parents' health insurance virtually forever. What was your reaction to that?
Well, I'm for a means by which a person with pre-existing conditions can acquire health care insurance.
Now, let me ask you this question, Frank. There'd be two ways to do that. One would be to let the marketplace decide that and decide what the cost of that kind of product would be. You've got the same thing in auto insurance. If you've got a bad driving record, you can get insurance, but it's going to cost you because the market says you're going to have to pay, you're going to have to pay a higher premium for the same coverage because of pre-existing conditions. Now, that's what the market does. The market will kind of set a figure that, and the market will offer products that have to be priced low enough for some people to afford them, or they don't make any money off of it. Or so, are you in favor of going that route, letting the market decide that? Because we're all for those kind of people getting whatever help is available. But should the market provide it, or do you think, Frank, that the government ought to mandate that health insurance companies have to offer those kind of products at a price set by the government?
No, I think it should be market force driven, but that is also an issue that was not addressed in that interview.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that Mitt Romney...
I don't want to jump to conclusions and automatically say he wanted to support Obamacare, because he didn't use that term. I believe he was using the term health care reform in general that's been being used for the last 20 years, and not specifically Obamacare.
Well, but this is the way he puts it, Frank. One is to make sure that those with pre-existing conditions can get coverage. If you're going to make sure that they can get coverage, that sounds to me like that's a government mandate.
Well, that could be saying that the private sector must make a way in which they can obtain that insurance.
Yeah, but those
things weren't specifically laid out, so I don't want to jump to conclusions.
Well, I guess my question for you, Frank, is how do you make sure that the marketplace provides that product unless you order them to? How can you ensure that unless the government is mandating something? That's what I don't get.
I understand that, but the government has rules on a lot of things, but I don't think it should mandate you're going to cover this at X number of dollars. But you can say, well, you need to make a way in which someone can acquire that insurance.
Well, see, if you let the marketplace work, then there would be a way for that if people are willing to pay the premiums that had to be charged in order to kind of spread out the risk, just like you have in the auto insurance industry. Bad drivers can get insurance, but it's very expensive.
That's kind of getting off from where I started at. I understood it as him talking about health care reform in general and not specifically Obamacare. All
right. Okay, Frank. Well, listen, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for that. And again, I think the Romney people realize he was kind of a blunder, and they're out there trying to correct the damage. John Meacham at Time Magazine listened to the interview and said, hey, this is terrific. He's saying great things now about Mitt Romney after listening to what he had to say about health care. These are not the words of a wild-eyed wingnut or of a wingnut with any kind of eyes. Question for voters assessing Romney is whether they're choosing between the president and a pragmatist or between the president and an ideologue. One wonders at this point if even Romney himself is clear which he is. But whatever John Meacham heard as a liberal, he liked what he heard. Let's go to Judy in Macon, Georgia. Judy, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What do you think about the Republican Party?
Well, I wish we didn't have a Democrat or Republican Party. I wish we just had people that we could put up for office, look at what they can and have done, and assess which one is the best. And that would be the what I would want to do.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing, Judy, the founders envisioned a political system where there would be no political parties. They had in mind exactly what you're talking about. No political parties, just individuals putting themselves forward to the people, making the best case why they should be entrusted with elective office. But it wasn't long. It was, George Washington, no political parties under George Washington. But once he was done with his second term, 2 political parties sprang into existence, and we've had them ever since. So, all right, Judy, I appreciate your call. Thank you. Let's see if we can squeeze in Terry here, San Angelo, Texas. Terry, got about 30 seconds. What do you think about the future of the Republican Party?
Brian, I don't think it looks good. I used to be a card-carrying Republican. I'm a constitutional conservative, a Tea Partier, and a Catholic, and I vote. There are too many rhinos and establishment types, if you ask me. McCain, McConnell, Dole, Hatch, Boehner, a whole slew of them. The Tea Party, I think, is the future of the GOP. You look at the GOP convention and how they disenfranchised Ron Paul supporters. I'm not a Ron Paul supporter myself, but I think it was wrong.
Well, I appreciate your call, Terry. Thank you for that. Terry thinking that the Tea Party is the future of the Republican Party. And, the reality, the Tea Party is not formally a third party, but it's kind of functioning like one because its role is to sort of hold the Republican Party establishment to account for Republican Party principles. So it's functioning kind of as a check and a balance on the Republican Party, sort of an insurrectionist force within the Republican Party. And a lot of people have said, look, the only way the Republican Party has a future if conservatives will take over that party and place it in the hands of those who are genuine social and fiscal conservatives. We'll be right back after the news. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Focal Point AFR Talk.
American Family Radio.